It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
This is from Matthew. He said, Brian has mentioned he and his wife agreed that once they got into their 40s, they'd take the foot off the gas on savings. I want you to talk about that a little bit for those who don't know what he's talking about. And he said, hey, what was one of the first things they spent more money on? I don't care as much about the things. I'll say, on the things that you decided to spend more money on, what was the why? Like, how did you arrive at that conclusion?
So look, that is a great teachable concept, and it's true. I had to sit down with my wife when we were in our 20s that I said, look, if you will go on this discipline journey with me where we're going to take a little bit of today for this awesome, great, big, beautiful tomorrow in the future, I promise that by the time we get in our 40s, we'll do more money for traveling. We'll do more money for this stuff, even if it's to the point that we have to take our savings rate down, because I think we'll have built up enough basket of funds that the army of dollar bills will start doing the work for us. That was the goal. And it actually worked out beautifully. Now, here's the Lex Luthor part of this whole plan, is that what I didn't foresee at the time, and nobody knows this because nothing's promised to us. You don't know when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you have no idea what your 40s-year-old self is going to look like or your 50-year-old self is going to look like. So you need to plan for what the data variables that you know at that time. And at that point, and it's still the right decision, Army of Dollar Bills was prioritized, and it has paid off handsomely.
Yep.
Now, the rest of the story is that I got fortunate. I'm very blessed is that our businesses have continued to grow. I never had to take my foot off the savings accelerator. It's just that now we're at a point, and this is what I've told you guys. I've been very transparent. I traded in my tightwad card. I mean, I don't feel like in my now mid, I guess you'd call it late 40s now, I'm not cheap about too much of anything.
Sure.
I mean, because when we go on vacation, I want to do a good vacation. I mean, I don't mind buying. I have the Tesla Model 3.
Say, a nice car.
My wife has a decent SUV, and we paid them off. I mean, within the like 3 months of buying them, we did some haggling with the dealers on the financing, but we paid it off within 3 to 4 months. And that's the greatest thing, is that I feel confident now, because I was very tight. I think if I could talk to my 20-year-old self, I'd say, well done. I would give that bear hug or that sloppy kiss on the cheek to my 20-year-old self for actually doing the hard work that took to, and then that kind of, because that behavior also led to success in my businesses with the product, walking the walk. I think my clients could tell that I was that way with money management. That it's just paid dividends in so many ways that I wouldn't have expected.
Can I give you a compliment on your spending habits? One thing I feel like I've noticed as I've watched you kind of spend money is even though you've turned in your tightwad card, the things that you spend money on tend to be things that you place a lot of value on, like traveling, or like the things at your house that you get to enjoy, or like the Tesla, which you love. It's I think it's your favorite toy I think you've ever bought in your whole life. You would probably say
that's true.
It's not going and buying designer shoes or fancy clothes and all. I mean, and maybe if that's your thing, that's your thing. But I think what's really interesting is I've heard you say, hey, what matters? It matters the time I get to spend with my kids right now. They're still in the house. The things we get to do, the memories we get to build. I feel like that's when you took your foot off the gas. I feel like that's where your money went. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and what's funny is you pick on me all the time though, because when I actually write down what I spend my money on, I'm still not. I think if you looked at my income compared to what I spend, if we could put a bell curve, I'm probably, even though I say I turned in my tightwad card, I bet I'm on the left side of the bell curve of people with my income and what we spend. It's just a different, but since I've quit, like I said, I don't move the goalposts. Yeah. I know what my why is. I know what makes me happy. I don't need to live in a bigger house. I don't need to, there's just I know what makes me happy, and I don't fall for the mirage of it needs to be bigger, better, and faster.
You started adding guac to your burrito, and we're okay.
Yeah, I mean, so my stuff is kind of the latte factor backwards, and the fact that you have all these financial talking heads that say, "Hey, you're never going to get rich if you're buying coffee at Starbucks." That's malarkey, because the thing is the big financial decisions with cars, houses, those type of things, the automatic savings is what does it. And I've kind of had the back end of it now is that it's just like me going to Starbucks more often isn't going to change my life. I mean, it is the latte factor backwards, because it's incrementally, those are small decisions.